Good morning. I'm Bill Zortman, and welcome to our It's Your Business show. We're at 3759 in our original It's Your Business series. Lots of news made this last week, and lots of fits that we traditionally talk about with our Monday 9 to 10 o'clock show. Real estate, financials, interest rates, with all that's bouncing around along with that development. Good old Lincoln County. Where are they? What are they doing? And Jim Schmidt will answer the question in our last quarter hour as he's planting soybeans unexpectedly this morning. Is agriculture still the number one industry in the state? So let's get started. Interesting times for those buying and selling homes. Coming up July 6th will be the report card show. What will be in the show for the first half of 2022? Tony Bachman, with all the breaking news from last week, joins us this morning to tell us what to expect. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bill. How are you today?
Good. So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that, we've seen a lot of headlines that are kind of distressing people a little bit. And, and I think it's related to just the whole economy as a whole when it comes to the inflation. I mean, when you're talking about gas prices and food prices, and then all of a sudden you throw in a few headlines about, is the housing market going to crash? Is there a bubble?
Is it going to crash?
So this is our conversation today, is dispel some of these fears of a market crash, even though the headlines are indicating such. But, really the market indicators that are the solid thing that we have to follow is, what's our month's supply of inventory? What's loan applications, mortgage applications? What's the amount of showing activity that we're seeing? Because they track that, how many times a home gets shown, that sort of thing. And then, and then basically what's the appreciation forecast? So right now we're in a low inventory, but a high velocity market. And that has not slowed down because we're still seeing homes that come on the market. And in many cases, they're only on for a few days, multiple offers. So that is not, and also we're still getting over list when it comes to in many cases, the average is like 102%, over list price. So that just telling you that I don't know where, the whole bubble thing comes, but I get it. I think the interest rates, when it comes to the rising interest rates, has certainly had an effect on a number of buyers. So to that, I agree. And what it does is it pushes them down on a lower price point for a home that they can purchase. Unfortunately, those homes under $300,000, those markets are really low with inventory. So there's a lot of competition there. With
the percent of people not working at 2%, it's returned to that in South Dakota and also here. You got 1,100 people that are out there trying to peddle real estate, trying to do their thing, trying to do all this and that. And there's some other businesses saying, if you don't have enough business over there, we may have something for you over here.
Yeah. No, there's... we're fortunate to have a very vibrant market. So we have a lot of activity, things going on, but it has, not only does it create a little bit of a pinch or a little bit of a low inventory for your buyers, but even for agents, when you have 1,100 agents with this low inventory, it just means that there's a lot of business that is being done by a few agents, and there's a number of agents that are trying to figure out, where they get their next client, listings, that sort of thing. So it's made for a pretty competitive market. But, again, I think that our market is still fairly healthy in reference to where we're at. And if you're an agent that's active and busy and doing, you're still going to be busy and still have a lot going on. So it's, but, like anything, it's not, the low-lying fruit has probably been picked. Now we have to reach a little higher on the tree, so to speak.
He's Tony Bachman team, Caldwell Banker. Okay, let's get into some of those other figures that you have put together. Make sure we use every second.
Okay, so when we're talking about, the whole market price bubble, what I think there's a little confusion. So I wanted to kind of just bring out a new term. It's called, home price deceleration, which doesn't mean price depreciation. So you have three terms that get thrown out here in reference to housing market, that sort of thing. You have an appreciation market, which we've had record appreciation over the last couple of years. That's where you have price increases, okay? So then depreciation is when you start having market prices fall and decrease. Well, that's what everybody's thinking is going to happen, or what they think is happening. And actually what's happening is we're having probably a little bit of a deceleration of home prices, meaning home prices are still rising. They're just not rising at the rate they have in the last 2 years, which I think we all welcome. I mean, we really don't want to see home prices continue to appreciate at 14 or 20% a year, because it really is going to put a pinch. I mean, eventually it's going to stop, and all of a sudden now, what do we do? So if we can do a gradual appreciation of homes, and one of the projections when it comes to prices moving forward is like this year they're talking about somewhere between high eights, we'll just say somewhere around 9% appreciation. Now 2023 they're indicating we're looking at about 4.2%, which average appreciation in the past traditionally is 3.7%.
Still above.
So we're still in a good spot. And then in 2024, I don't know what the rationale is here, but it says 3% appreciation. 2025, 3.5%, and then 2026, 4% appreciation. So the market's not going to collapse. We're still going to continue to see, but those next 4 years are probably more of a traditional appreciation, what we normally see in a normal market.
The other thing I would ask you, because you're on top of things and with your agents, you get calls from all over the country. Are you still getting calls from all over the country that are dealing with some of these same things in the other 49 states that we do here in South Dakota?
Yes, we are. We're having a conversation with a couple people from California at this point, and that are looking at moving here. Another couple from the East Coast, and I think they're changing for jobs or family. I mean, a lot of times it's family driven or it's career driven, or they're just going to take and cash in on their asset. I mean, a client from California I was talking to, they said they can sell their home. They think it's going to be somewhere around $700,000, and they can buy a similar home here for about half that. So from about $350,000 to $375,000. So that has some allure to them to be able to capitalize on their capital gains and move to South Dakota because they have young kids and they were wanting their kids to be in a smaller community.
All right, let's talk directly to those that are looking to sell their homes. What would you tell them?
I think right now is a really good time if you want to cash in on your assets. Also do an evaluation. Is your home working for you? Does it work at a high level? I mean, is your home bigger than what you need because you're an empty nester? Or are you a growing family that can see that you're going to grow out of this current home? I would tell you that a lot of people are saying, well, I'm not going to do anything because I'm just worried about the prices. And we're going to be fine. I mean, I think the thing is we just have to rethink how we look at our market because we've had such record numbers over the last couple of years that I think with our current market, they're still going to be in good shape because they had these assets. They've made gains on their property. Yes, when they go to buy, they're going to have to buy. It's going to be a little more expensive, but it's not like they're going backwards. They've made gains. They go into purchase this other property, even if it's at a little higher price. It wasn't like they had to shell out a lot of extra money to do that. But now they have a home that fits them exactly, whether it's in some cases with people who are empty nesters, they want something that's on slab, has 1,800 square feet, 3-stall garages, and that's what the building community is trying to work toward. I mean, we see a lot of that out there right now.
One of the things you do is lead them to a lending institution. What are you doing? What are the lending institutions doing to help them?
Yeah, I think with the lenders, and like they always have, is we want to make sure that they're having this conversation with lenders. And like one of the people that we had a conversation with, they said they got an application that was accepted by one of the online mortgage institutions. And I made a real strong case for that's fine. It's not that you can't use those, but I would recommend that you get a local lender, get an approval. Because,
that's an advantage, isn't it?
Well, because if you're presenting offers, and I've got 2 offers side by side, and one is a local lender versus someone who is like an online lender, the local lender is probably going to get a little bit more favoritism just because you just know that you've got somebody local to talk to, and so on. And I highly encourage that. But again, when it comes to looking at what the lenders are doing, lenders are trying to adapt as best they can. There's also conversations about doing like a 7-year loan that's basically a loan that you end up having to renew after 7 years. It's a 7-year ARM is what they call it, and so you can get it at a lower rate. And I'm not saying that's right for everybody, but there's some people who the average time that they're in their home is anywhere from 5 to 7 years anyway. So why not take advantage of the lower interest rate? As your family grows, you can move up. and see where the interest rates are at that time.
All right, let's take 2 minutes. You got all these graphs. They're pretty. I see blue. I see orange. I see a little red.
Green.
Tell us what we should know, what's important and what you have read in these, because you did some extra work to make sure you were right on course. 2 weeks from today, we'll be doing the report card show. Give us a hint what we might be talking about.
Sure. Well, I wanted to touch base a little bit more on this deceleration, point. Basically, traditional market for a normal market has been about 4% appreciation. Well, what we've seen since 2018, and so if you had 4% appreciation on a $200,000 home, after 5 years, if we go back to 2018 to now, after 5 years, if it had been what we call a normal or traditional market, that home would have been worth somewhere around $243,000. Well, because of what we experienced over the last couple of years with the record appreciation, that home right now, a $200,000 home is worth about $300,000. So we've had record appreciations. So now, again, the deceleration, meaning instead of having such high appreciation, maybe the appreciation is going to go somewhere closer to normal, where we're down at 8% or 7% or 4%. So it's not like the market's going to crash, because there's more buyers than there are sellers at this point. And part of that is the millennials just came of age. And when the millennials came of age, they're looking at, why should I rent? I should buy. The housing market can't keep up. The builders have not been able to keep up. And the builders, for whatever reasons, it's been, pricing, COVID, supply shortages when it comes to materials and labor. So it's been kind of the perfect storm. And that's why we've seen this whole appreciation and prices go up so much. But that being said, I think that we're still in a really good spot with the market. And hopefully some of the other indicators in the market can get figured out when it comes to fuel prices and prices at the grocery store and those sorts of things.
My guess is, too, that using a professional is pretty important in these times and places. It's a little hard for parents and grandparents to say they remember when, because they don't.
Yeah, I would say that it's all hands on deck. If I have someone who I'm working with as a buyer, typically we're tag teaming that now. So I have 2 agents working for one client to make sure that we can figure out if we can find a home for them, because you have to be on point, every day looking for that house, because there may only be the one house or 2 houses that in those certain price points for people to be able to see. And so we're out there, working diligently for that. But I know that, moving forward, it's still busy. We still have a lot of activity. Buyers can still find homes. It's just that we have to be a little bit more diligent about it. And sellers, if they're priced right, you still have to have condition. You still have to have cleanliness and all that. But they're getting premium dollar for their homes right now.
The shock would be if you said, I need to refinance my home, what it would cost and what it would be difference-wise in a month. If you said, look, I need to refinance what I'm doing, which may have been at 2%, and now it's at a number double that.
Well, and I have some stats on that, too, that I pulled in reference to mortgage applications. So refinance applications are down 75%, which does not surprise me. I mean, why would someone refinance unless, of course, they needed to leverage some of their assets, that sort of thing. When it comes to like new home applications, they're down about 14%. So it's not like the market's collapsing. Maybe what we can see is maybe if the loan applications taper off a little bit, inventories rise a little bit, because we're less than 2 months of inventory as of last month's stats, which is really low. And a balanced market, when I say balanced between buyers and sellers, is about 6 months. So we're way below a balanced market at this point. So I just think that the headlines sometimes mislead people, tend to be a little bit fear-mongering, and what we're trying to do is just basically alleviate some of that fear and let people know that the market is still working in a positive direction.
All right, Tony, if they need to reach you to answer specifically questions, how do you do it?
On my cell number, which I have on me at all times, is 605-201-5998. And then we also have a Facebook page, TonyBachmanGroup.com. Well, no, that's our website, TonyBachmanGroup.com. And then we have a Facebook page, Tony Bachman Group. So any of those ways you want to reach out to us. And I know that if you type our name in a Google search, you'll have all the information you need or access to be able to reach out to us. So thank you, Bill. Have a great day.
All right, report card show in 2 weeks. See you then.
Look forward to it.